welcome back to Read-a-roo Kids. My name is Miss Kristi, and today I'm super excited to read with you another awesome book. If you're as excited to read as I am, be sure to give this book a thumbs up below, and don't forget to click subscribe. That way, every time we post a new story, you and I can read together again right away. All right, today's book is called The Sun is Kind of a Big Deal by Seluk. Wow, let's find out why the sun is such a big deal. The Sun is Kind of a Big Deal by Seluk. All of the planets and the sun live together in the solar system, like a big family. The sun is our solar system's very own star. Seriously, the sun is an actual star. It's the only star in our solar system, and it sits right in the center, holding everything together. Jupiter says, "Could I have your autograph? It's for, my moon, Callisto." The sun is the biggest thing in the solar system. It's even bigger than Earth. Way bigger. Way bigger. Like over 1 million times bigger. Here's the Earth, that little blue dot. And this is how big the sun is compared to the Earth. It says, "Ow, it burns." This is why I keep my distance. There are much bigger stars than the sun, but all of the other stars you see are really far away. Really, the other stars are in totally different solar systems and have their own planets. Earth is the third planet away from the sun. 1, 2, 3. Remember Earth? It's that little planet where you live and everyone you know lives. Pluto, down here, used to be a planet, but scientists decided it didn't quite fit the definition. Now it's called a dwarf planet. Sorry, Pluto. Here's what everyone is saying. Here is Mercury, the first planet away from the sun, and he says, "I'm the baby." Venus says, "I'm the hottest planet." Earth says, "I have cats." Silly. Mars, "Did someone lose a rover?" Because there's rovers all over, which are like little cars collecting data for us. Jupiter says, "I'm gassy," because it's made of gas. Saturn says, "Hula hoop champion," because all the rings around Saturn. Uranus says, "I spin sideways." See how he's sideways compared to everyone else? Neptune says, "It's cold out here." And Pluto says, "I'm still here, guys." The planets move around the sun like a big racetrack in space. Each planet has its own special path that it follows. That's called its orbit. Some planets are faster than others, but each one stays in its lane. Here, this one says, "I really feel like I have to go further than you guys." And the sun's acting like the coach, blowing the whistle, saying, "Tweet!" But they all stay in their own lane. It takes a whole year for Earth to go all the way around the sun. Here, Earth's holding a calendar that says January, and it says, "Happy New Year!" Then we have February, March, April. Do you know how many times you have been around the sun? May, June. Hint, how old are you? July, August, September, October, November, December. It's asking how old you are because your age is 1 year apart. So if you're 5 years old, you've been 5 times around the sun. So what does the moon do all year long? So here's the moon moving around the Earth. While Earth is going around the sun, the moon is spinning around Earth. The moon goes around Earth 12 or 13 times in 1 year. That's about once a month. Depending on where the moon is in its cycle, we might only see part of it. The rest of the moon is in shadow. When we see the whole thing, it's called a full moon. So here we would see the whole thing in the sky, one bright big circle. That's a full moon. Then, as the moon starts to spin, it starts to get dark sides because the sun is not touching it. So here it's waning gibbous when it's just showing almost all of it, but not the whole thing. Then third quarter, waning crescent. New moon is when there's no moon in the sky at all. The moon's totally dark. Then waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous. The sun never stops working. It does a ton of important jobs for Earth. In fact, we wouldn't be around without the sun. Look at this long list Earth has for the sun. And the sun says, "Are you sure you need all of this from me?" Earth says, "Yes, every second of every day. Please and thank you." Here, Venus says, "Why is Earth so important?" Oh, that's Mercury. Here's Venus. 2 words, plants and animals. Mars, that's 3 words. Jupiter, still waiting on that autograph. And here, we have Neptune. What's this line for? So far in the back. The sun gives us light so we can see, but it takes about 8 minutes for light to get to us because the sun is so far away. Earth says it's worth the wait. Earth spins around in a full circle every day. That is why when it's nighttime for you, it's daytime on the other side of the world. So when the sun is shining straight at where you live, it's light outside. And when it's not light outside and it's nighttime, the sun is shining on the other side of the earth. And the sun says, "Hi again. How was your night?" The sun is always there, even when you can't see it. Sometimes it looks dark outside during the day because the sun is behind the clouds, but it is still there. See the sun? Hands reaching out. "Hey, move it, clouds! I was making shadow puppets." Once in a while, it gets dark in the daytime because the moon gets in the sun's way. There's the moon right in front of the sun, blocking Earth. That's called a solar eclipse, and it only lasts for a little while. The moon says, "Look what I can do." The sun says, "Yes, yes, we are very impressed. Now keep moving." Keeping us warm is another really important part of the sun's job. The sun is hotter than you can imagine, way hotter than fire. Its temperature reaches millions of degrees at the center. Some places on Earth are warmer than others. The parts of Earth closest to the equator are the warmest. The equator is right through the center of the Earth. The parts of Earth closest to the north and south poles are the coldest. So here's the South Pole, the south part of Earth, and the North Pole at the very, very top. And they're so cold, they're surrounded by ice. So now you know it's colder near the poles of Earth and warmer near the equator. So it's colder up here and warmer right here where this red line cuts the Earth in half almost. Well, the parts of Earth near the equator are getting the sun's heat from straight on. So here's the sun. And when it's pushing out its heat, do you see how it goes straight to the center right here? And then it takes a little bit longer and not as much sun here and not as much sun here. The north and south poles are getting the same amount of sunlight, but it gets spread out over a bigger area. Since these places have to share the sun's heat, they don't get quite as warm. While Earth is moving around the sun, it is spinning on a tilt. That's why we have seasons. There are 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Because of Earth's tilt, The top half and the bottom half of the world experience the seasons at different times. So here's the bottom half, and here's the top half, and here's the sun. So the top half is tilted away from the sun, and the bottom half is seeing more of the sun. So the bottom's saying, "Happy summer, everyone." And the top of the earth is saying, "What do you mean? It's winter." When the bottom half of earth is tilted toward the sun, it is summer there. This also means that the top half of the earth is tilted away from the sun, which makes it winter there. The sun's work isn't done yet. Every day, the sun also has an important job in the water cycle. So here it's saying condensation, all the water collecting in the clouds. Whoops. Precipitation, meaning all the water comes out of the clouds and down to the earth. And evaporation, meaning the sun heats up the water and it comes back up into the clouds. So here's a better explanation. What happens during the water cycle? So we're going to start with evaporation. Heat from the sun causes water to mix with air, turning into vapor. That's called evaporation. Condensation. Then the vapor gathers together, so all the water's coming up into the sky, and then it comes together to make clouds. That's called condensation. Then there's precipitation. Finally, the water comes back down to earth as rain or snow. That's called precipitation. The cloud says, "Uh-oh, I'm leaking." And the little water droplets are saying, "We're back! Woohoo!" The water cycle is important for all living things, but especially for plants. Plants need water and sunlight for photosynthesis. That's a big word, but it's also a really big job. Photosynthesis is when a plant uses light from the sun, water from the water cycle, and carbon dioxide from the air to make food for energy to help it grow. This little plant here. During photosynthesis, plants make oxygen. That's what animals and people need to breathe. Take a deep breath. You just breathed in a lot of oxygen. Oxygen doesn't have any taste, but it's always there. We cannot live without it. If the sun wasn't helping out with photosynthesis, we wouldn't have oxygen. Here, they're acting like it's a salon, okay? So here's the little plant with its roots in the water, reading a little book. And the sun says, "What can I do for you today?" And the little plant says, "A little photosynthesis, please." And here, look, it's blowing, like a blow dryer, carbon dioxide on the plant. And the plant is sitting in food and water here with its roots. And it says, "I totally love dirt. Dirt is awesome." And here says, "Oxygen." And the little plant says, "I love it. What do I owe you?" See, the sun helped the plant grow. The sun is pretty great. It's always around, keeping the whole solar system together. It gives us light and keeps us warm. It helps bring us rain and grow plants to produce the oxygen we breathe. It's such a big part of our lives that we wouldn't be able to live without it. The sun works really hard to help us out. That's kind of a big deal. And the earth's saying, "Number one," like the earth is the sun's #1 fan.
I loved reading with you today, and I hope that we can read together again soon. Don't forget, if you liked this book, be sure to give it a thumbs up below and click subscribe. That way, every time we post a new story, we can read together again right away. If you'd like activities to go along with our books, head over to Read-a-roo-kids.com. There we do arts and crafts, science experiments, we make recipes together, and we even practice our math skills. If you'd like to see what we're up to every day, be sure to follow us on all of our social media. Again, I loved reading with you today, and I hope that we can read together again soon. Until then, Read-a-roo loves you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.